Okay, so everybody, thank you very much for coming on to the live stream. I know you got lots of things you could be doing, but I appreciate you being here to chat with Miguel and I. And more importantly, Miguel, thank you very much for waking up on Sunday morning in Australia to chat with me on the live stream. So, for the people who are from my lives or from my subscribers who may not know who you are, please, Miguel, take a minute to tell them who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Miguel Sant'ana. I'm a professional hand balancer or handstand artist. I'm originally from Brazil and I coach hand balancing full time.
Okay, perfect.
Based in Australia.
There you go. Listen, man, I have to say something. I do not know what is in the water down there in Australia because there are so many movement people down there that are doing incredible things that like, geez, man, I got to get some of that here. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, it's very lucky to be here. You know, definitely the community is very big as far as movement and hand balancing circus, yoga, all that is very big here. It's very popular. At this stage, I mean, we're not seeing each other. We're not connected as much as I would because of COVID. We locked down at the moment in Australia, in Melbourne. So yeah, but very lucky. I've been here for 7 months only. I just moved here from Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a ride so far.
Okay, well, excellent. So listen, Miguel, we're going to get right into it, brother. All right. So listen, the first question. So I recently talked to Cy Monster, also from Melbourne, and then I talked to Carl Paoli as well. And both of those guys, I would say, are more movement generalists, okay? And they kind of take everything from a bunch of different movement disciplines. Whereas you, I think, compared to them, are more of a movement specialist. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if that is the case, why is it that you have more of a narrow movement practice, and why do you take this approach to movement skills?
Okay, so basically, my hand balancing journey, you know, it started 10 years ago, nearly 10 years ago, where I was a capoeira player, you know, capoeirista.
Yes.
I had that for 2 years before being introduced to hand balancing in particular, as you said, narrow. I used to do all the movement, you know, acrobat, what it calls movement today through capoeira 2 years before I got introduced to hand balancing. As soon as I got introduced to hand balancing, it pretty much took all my focus, you know, it just was in love. I fell in love, and it took all my time. It took all my time. I used to work full time and then come home and I just want to hand balancing and just want to hand balancing. And then as you go, I was so focused, very straightforward that you didn't even think out of the box. And that's how it's up to today, you know. It just took everything in my life. My focus became my full-time job nearly a year after I start. And yeah.
Okay, so I would assume that as a capoeira player, that your hand balancing at that point, you must have had the basic hand balancing down. So when you compare your skills at that point in time compared to what you are now as a professional hand balancer, how are they different?
Cool. Well, capoeira, you know, we never stay still. It's a game where I interact with the player, and I mean, I couldn't do a handstand, to be honest.
Okay.
So because you don't handstand, it's like a walk, and it's very quick. You can't just go in a handstand and stay still when someone wants to come and punch you, you know. Not punch, kick you, because it's not punch capoeira, it's just kicks. And so I had the confidence, I had the discipline of, I know if I wanted something, I need to work hard for it. As far as capoeira, I love the acrobat side of it. So I had all of that, but literally the practice of a still hand balancing discipline was absolutely new, and I must say I struggled. But as you said, you know, I had all of that, and maybe a couple of months was enough for me to like, okay, I have to stay still. Okay, I'm getting this. I was obsessed in it, you know, watching all the YouTube videos through YouTube, of hand balance artists and just getting you watch every single tutorial that was there 10 years ago on YouTube. I mean, YouTube was a big part of my learning experience and my own idea of what I would like to be doing in hand balancing, you know, how I would like to be, you know, like straight. I was very obsessed on the straight steel handstand, so it just grew from there.
Mm-hmm. So when you were learning now, did you have any professional coaching, or was it all from YouTube and just all from experience?
All from YouTube. You know, hand balance wasn't such a thing 10 years ago, how it's today. So in New Zealand, I was living in New Zealand at that time, and no handstand coach. All we had, it was gymnastics. That's the only place I would go probably to do gymnastics, you know, handstand, ask for the coach, but I didn't necessarily have any coach. Used to play around with people that could handstand, but wasn't, yeah, it was nothing professional. Yeah, just basically to YouTube.
Perfect. So now, a part of your job, yes, you are a professional hand balancing, but I also hand balancer, but I know that you also coach people as well. So with the coaching that you're doing, because you had no coaching and you learned it all from YouTube, how have you developed your coaching style? And is there, you know, certain things that you would say, okay, this is the Miguel Sant'ana method?
Okay, good one. Okay, so I have to go back all the way. When I started the practice myself, when I transitioned from capoeira to hand balance full time, like all my focus into it, I went hard on it. And then the community in New Zealand is very small. And then I started to go train around people, the circus, the gymnastics, and I was going around. And then, as I say, I went all in. 6 months all around Auckland. There, I know a lot of people. I knew a lot of people because I was just going around a lot. They knew about the handstand glide. I couldn't do one-arm handstand. I couldn't do these fancy tricks, but I was very clear how much I love hand balancing. So a year later, literally a year later, I was starting to do one-arm. I was even more the handstand guy in the city. Someone invited me to try to teach a handstand class. And then back in the day, a handstand class was not a thing, especially in New Zealand. I never thought I would get invited to teach a hand balancing class. It was a circus warehouse called the Dance Palace in Auckland. And I was like, wow, he got me. I was like, I would definitely try. I definitely not know what I'm going to do or have any idea what I'm going to do. But I mean, I was a gardener, full-time gardener. I was saving money to go overseas at that stage to train handstand, you know. I was like all in. And that's how I started. I started from nowhere, and I developed my teaching method to experience,
Okay.
class to workshop to workshop. It got popular very quick, so things moved really fast since the day I started.
Okay. Now, let's just step away from handstand for a moment. Okay. Now, outside of hand balancing, obviously, you know, when I posted up some of your pictures on Instagram, when you look up Miguel Sant'ana, you're in shape, right? So outside of hand balancing in per se, what do you do, or what else do you do to maintain your fitness?
My fit, okay. Hand balancing, hand balancing, hand balancing. Okay, flexibility. I work a lot my flexibility. When we're talking about 15 hours weekly training, five hours of that 15 is to flexibility, mobility, strength. Strength, what I mean, like is lower body strength, some squat, single leg squat, not heavily weighted, just with kettlebell, or even just free weight. Rehabilitation has been a huge part of my life for the last 4 years, or maybe a little bit over 4 years since my shoulder injury and my hips injury. So literally just flexibility and rehabilitation, big part of it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you do use some apparatuses for strength training. Okay. So what are the apparatuses that you do use, and how often, you know, on a weekly basis, how often would you do those things?
I would say everything is based in hand balance. Everything is for hand balancing. So as you said, it's very, very narrow. Everything is on the floor. Everything is body weight. You know, for hand balancing, I don't do pulling a lot myself. You know, I'd rather do another 5 sets of 10 handstand push-up or another 5 sets of 10 straddle press to handstand, push-ups, plunge work, static, dynamic, strength movement instead of anything else.
Okay. Okay.
It's just basically really thinking of the hand balance. What is this going to help me for that particular skill? Is this going to hold me for that particular level? This is going, yeah, it goes down to handstand.
Okay. So let's follow that for a moment. So when you're working on handstand, so obviously you have both the strength, and then you have to have the strength, for example, to do skills like the handstand push-up, but you also need to have endurance when you're doing holds and when you're moving throughout the air, moving throughout space. So how do you develop each of those things individually?
Okay. You know, endurance for a press to handstand is one thing. Endurance for hop one hand to the other is a different thing, and all the hand balance skill. For one arm handstand is a different thing. To hold the handstand for 5 minutes is a different thing. So I climb up the ladder from the very, very zero, targeting the particular skill straight away. So if I want to do a 30-second handstand, I will work to handstand on the wall or off the wall to get that 30 seconds. I will hold that standard for a 1 year period of time where my body get really used to it before I say, okay, let's add 15. And that goes to every skill. I will hold one handstand push-up standard for a long period of time before I add the second one, and then the third one, and everything grow as up to now. That's been 10 years that I balance. I would not know this sort of method 5 years or even 4 years ago, where I wasn't as big in conditioning training for handstand.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So when you consider the stuff that you do now, how much of it would you consider, what proportion of that it requires strength as opposed to some of the other things like flexibility or the conditioning? Like, in other words, you know, when you look at all of the one-hand presses and all of the various movements that you do, is it possible for somebody to do those without a requisite level of strength, or, you know, and they can just, if they know the position, can they get into it, or is a certain level of strength required?
Definitely. I mean, when you see something, for example, one arm L-sit hold is very easy to visually understand. Okay, he just he's put his leg on the floor and he tried to, you know, it's easy to see it, but a particular movements like this is very convincing that if you train for 1 month, you can do it. Handstand is very convincing. Anyone that wants to try, they go on the wall, they go off the wall, they're like, wow, this is really fun. I think if I train these for 1 month, I'm going to be able to do it. And then down 10 months, is still that 1 second is enough to keep doing it for another 6 months. And then they do another.
I've been playing around with with handstands for years and I can't do it properly. So
that's what I'm saying. So it's definitely something built from the ground up, Chris. You know, it's like become a gymnastic. You know, anyone can go to gymnastics, but go from zero to a professional gymnast is, we're talking about, you know, from age of 5 to age of 15 years old. You know, like a full time there, like grinding. You know, hand balancing discipline, I don't think is any difference. Hand balancing, why handstand is the most required physical thing in gymnastics. Like, doesn't matter what you're going to specialize in gymnastics, you have to do handstand because the base of every acrobat, every movement is a free body weight required for anything you're going to do physically, as far as, you know, movement, dancing, circus. If you go to circus school today, to get into the circus school, you have to be able to do a handstand. You know, so I do believe it's for everybody. But it's definitely something that will go up as you train, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's interesting when you think about the development of the skills, right, and what's required, and you think about how long it takes. The thing that amazes me, okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit medically here for a moment, okay? When you think about the hip joint is a ball and socket, and it's tilted at a 45-degree angle. So boom, it's designed to hold the head of the femur in joint when you stand on it, okay? But when you look at the shoulder joint is not a ball and socket. It is a saucer, and the head of the humerus sits against the side of the saucer. So it's not really made to do that, right? And when you look at a good handstand line, absolutely straight, that means that the humerus is sitting against the edge of this cup where it's trying to slide off the edge of the cup. And yet people can sit there, hold it. So when I think about that from a medical perspective, and then I see what you do, I'm like this is just incredible, man. Like, because you not only have to have the pushing strength to hold yourself off the ground, right? But you also need to have the strength within the shoulder muscles to suck this against the cup so that it doesn't fall out of the cup, right? And so that, I think, is absolutely amazing. And when you compare the shoulder muscles to the leg muscles, right? The leg muscles obviously are much larger, right? And you have these much smaller muscles holding you up in space. Like, I just think that that's amazing. Amazing.
I mean, Chris, I agree with you. I mean, I still, I come across a lot of students come to me saying about, oh, I mean, in the community, you see how shoulder injury is so common. Why wrist? You know, a lot of people come to me, Miguel, but how can I avoid my wrist pain? Hey, you're going to do handstand. I mean, it's just so much you can avoid. As you said, it was not made to do this. Look at how little is your wrist, and look at how is your ankles. Yes. And you're doing that oppositely. So I will be honest with you. If you want to become a good handstander, you're going to have to go to the pain. Because it's just common sense. You're going to spend a lot of time upside down, and it's going to fatigue. It's going to stress. Yes, it's a way to make it stronger, but even there, you did not mean to do that. So it's just so much you can avoid that through your handstand. And this is the same with the shoulders, you know, when you're doing 2 hours of hand balancing plus handstand push-up plus everything for handstand on top of that is a tough one, you know. As I said, I already passed through mine and I'm still going through. I have my shoulder injury really bad where I have a cyst in my shoulder through the tear and then block all the nerves, infraspinatus gone, was like this. Okay. But the interesting thing was free pain. So I keep ignoring, you know, like a strong mindset, my ego, no, keep going, suck it up. And it got to the stage that I was like that. And then I flew back to New Zealand, I was in UK, to treat my shoulders. And 3 months there, I found out 3 months later that my shoulder was starting to actually go through pain. I told my physiotherapist, guy, this is not working. Get me to see someone that actually don't tell me, oh, it could be this, or could be that, or could be this, or could be that. Get me an MRI. As soon as I walk into the specialist, I took my t-shirt off, let me see your back. I was a hole like this big in my back. Infraspinal was gone.
It was wasted way, yeah.
I put my fist in it. And I was like, how did you, doctor, your physiotherapist didn't see this? Look at this. At this stage, I'm going to have to open your shoulder. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm here a minute and you already can tell me this. And very interesting. And yeah, I couldn't do that. I said, no, I don't want a shoulder operation. I want to try something else. He said there are the options to do the aspirin injection, where I suck the cyst off, and cortisone, because what that stage was quite painful. Cortisone injection, I left the place like here. And it took me a year to be able to lift my arm. And it's still, look, it's still quite, you see, I can't go. This is it.
Yeah.
You see? It does. We're shaking. And if I have to go, it's just... So I learned that on the bad way, you know, but again, all my teaching skill back in the question you asked me, how I developed, all my teaching is being to my own experience, through my student experience, having a huge community where, okay, you have this sort of problem, okay, how I'm going to go around, how I'm going around, and then the next one comes, how I'm going to go around. So I'm trying to solve handstand for people for the last 10 years, and that's what is my experience, and my own self, with my wrist injury, with my shoulder injury, now with my hips injury, and I become a coach that I am today through that. I haven't studied hand balance. I haven't studied any personal training. I haven't studied anything. It's just literally day-to-day life teaching me how to do what I do and how I do today, you know.
Okay. Now, one of the viewers asked a question about flexibility, and they were talking about the differences between men and women. And there are some hormonal differences between men and women. Women, because of their hormones, tend to be a little bit more flexible. But for yourself now, how, like, would you consider yourself, in general, to be a flexible person? And then how much work did you have to put in specifically to flexibility to be able to get to, where you feel comfortable doing all of the skills that you do?
I had this question last night. How long it took for you to do the split? And I'm like, I don't have the split. Why I say that, Chris? I told you that I do 1 hour flexibility training. Why is that? I am a flexible person after that hour. In the first 10 minutes or now, I can touch my toes.
Yeah.
I'm not near. I'm this far from the floor on my split, right? And I can show you, no problem. So people really believe that. Oh, Miguel, you're so talented, so flexible. No, I grind here. And now, anywhere I'm going to go to train with other professional hand balance, even some students, I'm the first one to get there to start my warm-up.
To get warmed up.
Because I get there, and I don't embarrass myself. I get there, but no matter where I go, I'm always the tightest one in the room. So it's been 1 hour, at least some days, 2 hours. When I used to teach in Hong Kong, there I teach pretty good 3 hours class every morning. I used to stretch, with him, plus with my own practice in the afternoon again. Because, and the other thing is, I stretch 1 hour and I open up. 15 minutes later, to my practice, 20 minutes, it keeps sinking, shrinking back. And then here I am, but why, Miguel, why you stretch your side split so much? Because it's like a and definitely I find women more flexy or easy to get flexible than men. But either way, we do have cases that either are very tight or very flexible. So you get both worlds. Definitely women more flexible and a little bit harder to gain strength, where men, you know, hard to get flexibility, easy to get strength. It balances out quite a bit in the
Okay.
end term, you know.
Okay. Now here's another question. I want to go back to when you first started again. Okay. And say, so here is Miguel Sant'ana of today. Okay. And you're looking back at when you first started your handstand journey. Okay. So tell me now, 2020, Miguel Sant'ana, how long, when you look back at yourself, how long did it take you to get a handstand that today, right? If you were looking back, you would say, oh, yeah, that's a good handstand. I like that. You know, how long did it take you to get to that point where today's Miguel Sant'ana can be happy with yesterday's Miguel Sant'ana?
Chris, hand balancing is a unique discipline where, hard to believe or not, the same handstand that I've been doing, I would say 10 years, you know, I would say 10 years. But the thing is, the same I did yesterday, visually the same today, but feeling wise is a different. Like I eat Spanish food yesterday and I eat Brazilian food today. True, that look exactly the same. So every day it's been tasting different things that look the same, and that's why it took away of everything, because I'm doing the same boring exercise, but every day I'm on my hands for a minute or 5. But today I feel this is a little bit like this. Oh, today I feel this good and this one feels a little bit like, even that doesn't look that way, this is what is keeping me, you know, motivated to keep going. And it's never mastered, Chris. It's never mastered. It's always the shoulders come bad and you have to go backwards to go forward. You literally never, you know, it's 100 days unhappy, one day that you're like, wow, today felt amazing. Yeah.
It's funny to hear you say to some, with, you know, a person who has the skill set that you do and who can make it look so beautiful, and you go, yeah, no, it's never perfect, man. No, yeah, I'm always working.
Is some days you go upside down, it feels like, oh my God, have I done this before? Even myself, I believe in, like, how to believe, because I have to go through a process every day to start my practice. I'm like, can I really do that? It's very unbelievable. And yeah, I'm very happy today what I have achieved for the last 10 years. I would never ever thought I would be here talking to someone all the way in America. Is a doctor, specialist in, you know, in your craft. So it's very overwhelming, you know. Life is very overwhelming. Through my passion that became my reality. Yeah, it's a crazy thing, you know. Is, man, 5 years ago, Chris, 3 years ago, or even 7 years ago, when I was a gardener, you know, full time, and I do handstand, and my colleagues, like, you know, just like, I can see the body language, like, you're wasting your time. My boss, even sometimes I would do handstand on the yard, you know. At the end of the day, that we finish, we would hang out and do some handstand. You're like wasting your time. And then I started to teach handstand. I was like, holy moly! I would work 1 hour. In 1 hour would cover my entire money that I would make working 8 hours in the gardening company. And then it became popular. And then a year later, I had to quit my job because it was so popular, and financially wise was like 100 times more rewarding doing what I love.
Yes.
People don't believe when I would go socialize with someone that I didn't know. What do? I'm a handstand teacher. It was unbelievable. And it's still hard to some people to believe that I teach handstand for a living. And I got to say, you know, I touch wood. I'm very grateful for how much I have done. And I'm very pleased that I gave a chance. I gave a go when I left New Zealand. I said, I'm gonna go travel the world. I'm gonna go and meet all my hand balancer inspiration that I've been watching on YouTube, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then I met Chloe Victoria. It was a dream of mine to train with Master Chloe Victoria. He's a handstand master that passed away a couple of years ago. He was 84 years old. And yeah, it was just overwhelming, man.
Well, it definitely is very cool. I want to touch on something that you talked about there. So, this is your passion, right? But it's also your profession, okay? And so obviously you've mentioned already that you do a lot of stuff for your training is all around preparing you for your occupation. But is there a part of your movement practice which is just for Miguel Sant'ana? Just, you do it not because it's part of your profession, but it's just for your own enjoyment.
I started to play golf last year. Before I wasn't playing golf, I was trying to hit the ball in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is quite expensive to find a golf course to play, so I used to go on the range, and that was a fun of mine. Twice, at least once a week for 3 hours straight, hitting ball again, teaching myself, and that was definitely something I really enjoyed to do in Hong Kong. I love go out and watch movies, nothing to do with fitness, but I love to go in a yoga class with my wife, where it's very gentle, very easy, nothing crazy. I love the easy stretch, relax. I love to do a meditation session on a daily basis. I love ride my scooter to the beach to train handstand. I love drive a car. I love to catch up with my friends here at my place or on their place for barbecue and a beer. Yeah, I mean, still a normal person out of the handstand mode,
Mm-hmm. Now, and just out of curiosity, does your wife do handstands?
No.
That's
She
all right.
tries. So, like once in a while, she comes to one of my retreats, beautiful
Yes.
location by the beach in an exotic island in Thailand or Philippines or Bali. She comes and she had the potential, so much potential, but again, 1 week here, 1 week in 6 month time, and yeah, not necessarily. She do dance. She's a dancer and a yoga teacher. She's doing a lot of dance now. She used to work for Disney, but not, yeah, never put so much time into hand balancing.
Don't worry. My wife's not a surgeon either, and she hates hospitals.
Oh wow!
So there you go. But listen, okay, so let's move on to the next one. Now, you talked about injuries that you've had. Okay, so your shoulder, your hip, your wrist. So talk to me now about what you do in your movement practice to help prepare yourself or to prevent injury, okay? And then to rehabilitate yourself from injury if you've had one.
Well, when I first hurt my wrist, my first 3-4 years of imbalance was through pain. Literally, I was pain to put my hands on the floor. I would wrap up and I would go through the pain. So it was just very ignorant, very ego-based, keep going, keep going, keep going. Got better 4 years later. It got strong because I smashed so much, the pain gave up on me. But what I do today, that was my mentality back then. And then what I do today, because I'm at the stage that I'm not working in any new skill on hand balancing or trying to achieve any crazy things anymore. I'm trying to actually keep up my level, and is my top priority right now. So I'm not pushing over the limit. So this is one prevention. Know what's your limit and don't push that. Respect that, accept that. That's one. Two, I had professionals that helped me along the years, like yourself, people on the as a doctor, physiotherapist, or a specialist of particular areas of the body that I go to that helped me a lot, and educate myself through YouTube to, you know, studies on. But I think the mainly one is the rehabilitation from the doctors that work along the way, and research that I did myself through my own experience of my own body. But I think respecting, you know, having a coach to tell you, or respecting your abilities of to do particular things in your particular discipline that you do, I think is the main one.
So I'm going to add on, or I'm going to tag a question onto that just came into my head. So respecting your abilities. Okay. Here's a question, because you teach handstands. Do you think you can teach? Do you think it is possible for every person, given that they don't have any kind of physical attribute that would, you know, or deficit that would prevent them, do you think it's possible that every person can do a handstand, or any person can do a handstand?
Okay, common sensely, yes. Why is that, Chris? Because I'm gonna take you from day one. From day one, from if you can't put your foot on the wall upside down, I will start low. Even on just holding your plank position, this is your very day one of hand balancing, and then build the ground up. But you didn't ask me how long you would give me for that. It could be a lifetime.
Okay.
I say it could, but again, is a lot of people give up too soon, right? They don't give me enough to, you know, some people think I'm gonna train with Miguel and I'm gonna become a master in a month or in one class. It's not like that, man. You have to put the work. One little thing for me to adjust to, it would take you a year to understand, or a year to digest that learning. It's a tricky one, but I'm a hard believer, you know, man. I can do, man. You can, because Chris, everything I swear on, everything I have learned, it felt impossible. Man, I can show you a video of 10 years ago, me smashing me. I trained press to handstand with a pill in front of me. I trained one arm handstand on the wall. I trained how to flex on the wall, like literally, like what everybody do. That's what I did too. But the thing is, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. I keep researching, having an idea. Okay, this is what I want to look like. Okay, I have to stretch. I have to stretch. It was very, I was not, I don't like, do I like? No, I don't like. I like when I'm warm and feel good, but I hate it. I have to hesitate every day, like, okay, stretch. Okay, there we go, go. So yeah.
Okay. So one of the viewers asked, what is the appropriate amount of rest? So if somebody's just starting out, they're learning handstand, they want to get the handstand, they're dedicated, they're going to put in the time and the effort. How often should they be training? How much rest should they give themselves?
All depends of your level, your ability, in how much you have put into hand balance so far. At lower level, I have programs for students that I would do 1 day and rest one, but that 1 day would be just a 30 minutes program, and then rest one, and train one, and then rest one. And then as you go, 2 days of 40 minutes, or even 2 days of 30 minutes and rest one, 2 and rest one, 3 and rest one, up to they get to maybe 4 trainings or 3, rest 1, 3, train 1, and then I would increase the amount of exercise in the program, and again, increase and rest 1, increase and rest 1, and then at the time that they get used to that, the amount of training in 1, 2, 3 days, I increase the time again. 1 hour training, 1 day rest, 1 hour training, until you have up to 5 days training and 2 days off.
Okay, cool.
I do believe, you know, Saturday and Sunday is a rest day. You know?
And now I made you work on Sunday.
Nah, man, this is just I think I never work. You know, this is stage you never work, because We do what we love, and in some years I haven't rest for a long time because work. I believe I have to work now as much as I can. That I'm younger and I can, so hit work.
There you go. It's got to be at the grind, man. Got to be at the grind. Now
Yeah.
listen. So if we're talking about hand balancing, okay, hand balancing is itself a skill, okay, but if you were to break it down, okay, it is made up of individual skills, okay. So if you were to think about what are the core skills of hand balancing that somebody has to be able to master to allow them to do an appropriate handstand, what are those core skills? And I recognize they're never doing them individually, right? But still, it is a composite skill which is made up of smaller skills. So what are those core skills in your mind?
Flexibility, mobility, body weight strength, rehabilitation work, and the hand balance discipline itself. So it's sort of all, I mean, why can't do handstand? Why gymnasts do handstand? Why circus people do handstand? I think it's the core of all, yeah, all the handstand. Flexibility, mobility, strength, rehabilitation, and the hand balance itself. So I
Okay.
think those five is the main thing. If you know how to build them all together, but people build more handstand than build flexibility, or build more strength than flexibility, or build more rehab than you have to. If you know how to lift them up together as you go, and you have the passion, you have the professional alongside to really help you do that, I think is the best way to do. And I wish that I knew about that before all this stuff happened. But again, you learn with your mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, those five elements, I think.
So here's something. Now, when I think about my own experience with handstand, okay, obviously I'm an adult. I spent all of my years walking. I have good balance in an upright position. And I have good kinesthetic awareness. I know where my body is in space in an upright position. When I'm upside down, no, no. And not only that, when I was first starting to work on handstands, I thought, oh, I have a straight line. I have a hollow line. This is good. Until I saw someone took a video of myself, and I realized that what I thought felt like a straight line was not a straight line. So my question is, how long do you think, okay, outside of mastering the handstand, how long do you think it takes somebody, if they're practicing regularly, say 3 times a week, putting in a good amount of practice, how long do you think it takes people to actually develop that kinesthetic awareness, of what their body is actually doing in space when they're upside down?
Okay, how long? Okay, I believe background of particular people affect a lot your performance. So I have people from Asia, for example, that never done running, never done any sport as a growing up. That one definitely will take a good year. A good year. A year is better than what?
Well, it's better than a lifetime.
It is better than a lifetime. A year, but when you tell them this, they melt. They
Yeah.
melt.
Yeah.
And a good year. If the kid or if the person as a grow up has sport backgrounds, it's definitely a little bit faster. Handstand can happen within a month, or handstand can happen with all depends of the background, all depends of injuries, all depend mental state, it's so much, Chris. Hand balance is so much. It's so sensitive. is such a sensitive topic. A lot of time of my teaching, I have to sit down with my student and talk and make them believe they can do. Instead of just going, okay, do this drill that I look on YouTube, look at this drill that I look on Instagram, look at that exercise that teacher this school exercise is really no, I don't think this is what make a good teacher. I think is if the teacher can recognize the weakness of the particular student, I think not only physically but also mentally. Yeah, if those two together, I think, you know, background, but can be from 1 month to a year to 2 years. I have a student that they gave up on me in 3 years. They still trying and they still cannot do it, but they not giving up because I want my student know that hand balance is a way of living today. Is like a don't train thinking about the goal. Train about
process.
I want you to enjoy your training ride and look to the side and actually enjoy being on the ride instead of like go, oh, it's going to be so beautiful when we get there. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be, you know, clear water. It's going to be warm. And then here, they're like this on the phone, you know, instead of this beautiful scene. I wanted to wake you up and like, hey, look at this.
Yes.
Look at this. This is beautiful. Let's be now. Instead of, look, you were much better than yesterday. Look at yourself 4 months ago. Look at yourself. And then they're like, holy moly. See, look at what you're talking to me about. Look what you know. Look what we're growing together. You know, so it's matter of there, I believe, Chris.
Now, the one thing that I think about when I consider the length of time it takes people to learn how to do this. When you learn how to walk, right, as a child, it takes people anywhere from 9 months to 2 years to learn how to walk. And you are meant to be on your feet, and you do it every stinking day for hours on end, right? And it takes them 9 months to 2 years to figure out how to do that. And so I always kind of laugh inside when we have people, you know, at our place in Ottawa, we train people. My coaches train people, not me. My coaches train people to do handstands, and people, as you said, they think they're going to do it overnight. And I have to stop and say to them sometimes, how long did it take you to learn how to walk? And you were meant to do that. Well. You know.
That's right. And is that period of time, right? 9 to 2 months or 2 years. And then, but as you say, they all day, not just 1 hour a day. People ask me, how to let 1 hour handstand? I'm going to be honest, 5 years. 5 years. And this if you train 1 hour handstand is the most difficult someone can do physically. Physically, it's like it doesn't make sense. Someone hold themselves upside down. It's just not today, not tomorrow, not ever. As far as we have this body strength, and people look, oh Miguel, I do a 30-second handstand. I can do. Can you teach me 1 hour? Come on, man. Come on. You know, like unfortunately, you still get those ones. How long it takes. People worry about the destination. Come here, let's go for a ride with me. And I will try to show you the enjoyment on the ride instead of the goal, you know. And
there you go. All right. So we're getting close to the end. So I got 2 more questions for you. First question. Somebody who's starting out handstand, they're starting out handstand practice. Give me 3 of the common errors that you see that are going to prevent them from doing handstand when they're just starting out.
People worry about the jumping to get to the handstand. Jumping. They like, Miguel, but I can't jump. They worry, they on the middle of the room trying to jump. What's the point? What are you jumping to? You're trying to jump to something that's not there. Your body don't know what it is. It's like playing a lottery on the lottery. You're just praying that you're gonna win. And sometimes you do that 2 seconds, you know, that keep you motivated to keep doing for another 6 months, and on and on and on. You have to learn handstand first before you learn how to kick the handstand. I think that's the first one. Don't think about the middle of the room. Let's go on the wall and let's start right there. We're not going to jump to handstand or even think about that until you have a good awareness, a good understanding of what is being in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the mistake, people wasting too much time in the middle of the room trying to get jump, you know. Second mistake, rushing, not patient, having the wrong idea what hand balance is, not appreciating the discipline away. Again, come down to the same sort of thing. It's pretty much the same thing. The main mistake is just doing something that's way ahead of what you do. Find a coach to help. This is a mistake, trying to self-train themselves where one class a month would go a long way, or just one class, one workshop. If you're clever enough with one workshop of like introduction to hand balanced mind, if do one workshop is enough for you to get you set for a long time. You know, second mistake, not invest in a teacher in something that you want so bad. So that's the second one. Third, not working that 5 elements all together. You know, that flexibility, mobility, conditioning, rehab, and handstand. You gotta grow all together. Otherwise, you're gonna grow one so much that the higher you go, the higher is the drop. So try to build those together would be. So these are the 3 mistakes, in my opinion.
Okay, so the last question, okay, that I'm going to give you. If you are saying to somebody now, just in general, I don't need to know specifics, but you want to say to somebody, these are the steps that you will need to take to learn how to do a handstand. What do you think are the basic steps?
The basic step, I would say a stable plank position, if that's the question you ask me, you know, like a plank position hold, a good hold, static, strong, elevated, a good stability upside down on the wall, you know, a good standard of hamstring flexibility, because at the beginning of your journey hand balancing, you know, the better hamstring flexibility you have, the less you're going to suffer. For example, to jump, some skills that you have to, I mean, you have to get there, or you have to even walk into the wall. If you don't have a good stand of hamstring, you're going to get stuck. So hamstring to start off, core strength, like a dish hold. I think you would ask me what's strength. Dish hold, just on the floor. If you can't do it like this, you just put your hands under your back and just hold to protect your back. This is a simple exercise. Plank, dish, leg raises. It can be in the hanging leg raises, or it can be on the floor. And if it's too hard, tuck. Use the tuck position instead of legs straight together. So these is the 3 main. And find a teacher, man. Just get a teacher, if it's once a month or just once, just to give a big picture. And YouTube, man, so much good material there. I'm sure you can educate yourself. You know, if you like someone, you know, you inspire by, maybe it's a good start. Look at them, how they do it, and start from there.
Okay, excellent. So we're running to the end of our time, but I want to give you an opportunity, please, to promote yourself, tell people where they can find you, and if they want to connect with you, to have you teach them? What do they need to do? Tell them, please.
Cool. Okay, so how to find me is through my Instagram page is the best way, or miguelhandbalance.com. Instagram definitely the best place. Look it up. I have a couple of trainings coming up: wrist, shoulders, hip rehabilitation workshop that I have next weekend, and also I have another introduction to hand balance beginner workshop coming in the end of the month. Also, all the information is on the website or link in my bio, on my bio. Everyone is welcome. The workshop beginners, when I mean beginners, a lot of intermediate people get like, oh, I'm intermediate, I need the intermediate one. This workshop is not necessarily for beginner level, it's for you to begin to learn from me. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how amazing you're doing, this is my foundation. Why I place the hands like this, why I do this, why I do that, why I do this, why I use this instead of that, where to look, why I like this, why I like that. So this is a workshop for everyone. I highly recommend. So check it out. Check it out.
Okay, perfect. So everybody, thank you very much for attending. It was a great experience, and I know if Miguel will have it, I'm gonna have to have him back again, because I gotta pick his brain some more about this and get more into the nitty gritty the next time. But for everybody else, again, thank you very much for attending, and keep your eyes out for our next one. I think the next one might be on Wednesday, and we're gonna switch gears from hand balancing probably to a little bit of MMA and mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a little tactical stuff. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho. Thank you very much, Miguel, and thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for being there. Much appreciated. And I will see you around, buddy.